Welcome to EU News, connects people on the move. I'm Elder Charles Bird.
And I'm Tom Dominguez.
And we bring together people who are movers and shakers and innovators that will bring great ideas and great opportunities right to your communities. And we have some opportunities today to discuss, don't we? I'm happy about these stories.
I'm happy about the stories, but I'm happy that you all are joining us today again.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes. So, Elder, what do you think about this weather, though?
I love this weather. This is my time of the year.
Mm-hmm.
The days are longer. It is warmer. You can take long walks.
Yes.
And I mean, wintertime is such a snoozer in the evening.
It's a drag.
I mean, 5:30, 6 o'clock, it's over. It's a wrap.
Right.
But now here it is, 7:30, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and you can still go out and look at the end. It's not at its peak yet.
No.
I love June.
No.
June don't get dark till about 9:15, 9:30.
Well, see, I didn't go as far as June because, see, June starts getting too hot for people that, are going through the change of life. So I'm just talking about like right now. Yeah. I like this weather. We can stay in this weather.
Right here.
Right here.
No warmer and no cooler.
This is perfect.
All year round.
All year round, actually.
What state or what part of the world do you think it would stay like this all year round?
I was getting ready to say Atlanta, but I heard that Atlanta gets cold.
It gets hot.
Well, I know it gets hot. But
10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning, sweating.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what kind of things do we have on the news today?
Let's get back to business.
Yes.
We have quite a few stories. I like your story that you're going to talk about, the Black inventor.
Yes, this guy, Elliot Eddy. Elliot Eddy, I like him. He has a way. He has done something that no one else can do or has done before. But he can teach people how to grow their business in the comfort of their own home with a board game. Yes, folks, with the board game. This puts fun back into fun night.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Now, he has won several speaking awards. He's a teacher, he's an innovator, and he is what I would call a genius. Yeah, let me go ahead and say that he is a genius because he will give you something to think about and have fun with it at the same time. EE Speaks. That is the company that's backing him, and they are saying this is a way that you could be inspired. He has taken his skills and all the companies and everything that he has owned right now, and he is putting it all into a game in which he can captivate the skills that he has learned, that he can now instruct those same skills in a way that you are having fun.
Wow.
It's called Entrepreneurship Board Game.
That is awesome. That's really awesome. We were talking about this story a little bit before we came on here, but we were talking about the fact that the school systems, when we were coming up, they didn't teach entrepreneurship in high school. So just think, where we could be at right now, some of us movers and shakers, if it was taught in school when we were in school. I mean,
schools teach a lot of things. But they never teach entrepreneurship. They never teach you how to start your business, grow your business. We had to learn it on the fly.
That's right.
We had to learn to do some things that we were... I remember when I was a kid, I told you about the cookies and going into a jar, reaching out. And I used to sell the broken cookies. No one wanted the broken cookies, but I found a way to turn some of those broken cookies into pennies.
Right.
And so a lot of people are learning that was their first, I guess, the genesis of their entrepreneurship and the way that they have found a way to put monies into their pocket.
Right.
Toys R Us are interested in Eddie Elliott's invention on this board game. They want to pick this up and they want to try to see if they can make some money on it. It's a fun game. I would love to try it. 2 to 6 people. 2 to 6 people can play it, and you will have a nice evening around it. I can't wait to get it. Target also has an opportunity. Yes, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
You have to look that game up.
You have to.
You have to support Elliot.
There you go. Elliot Eddy.
Yeah.
EE Speaks.
So while we're on this subject, though, you talked about children being entrepreneurs, and they don't even know it when they're little. But
isn't that something?
That is. It's amazing. And so it leads me into my story that I'm going to talk about. And this is a guy named Darnell Ferguson. And Darnell went from homeless to incarceration 8 times. He actually went to culinary art school. He got a degree growing up. He started out with a childhood friend. They were in the 6th grade when they met. Right? Darnell's skill was in the kitchen. Right? His friend, Ryan, his skill was entrepreneurship. This little guy would go to the candy store and get candy for 1 cent and sell it for 10 cents a piece, right? So once again, children
sound like my guy.
they're entrepreneurs and don't even know it. So, but anyway, once Darnell got incarcerated, he finally did get out. What happened was he went to culinary art school. Like I said, he got a degree. He even got selected among 2 of the first Black people to go to Beijing. To the Olympics. They chose him as the chefs for the American team.
What's his name?
Right, the USA team. His name is Darnell Ferguson.
Darnell.
Yeah. And so he was chosen for that. He went there. He came back. He got a job as a culinary arts person, or as a chef, I should say. It wasn't giving him enough money, so he decided to take to the streets, start selling drugs to make money, and then that's how he started, getting locked up. Well, he finally gets out of prison. He gets a job. He gets several jobs. He gets fired because his attitude is not too keen or too sharp. Finally, he started going to church, and that's when he decided, I have to do something different to turn my life around. So he started going to church, and he linked back up with his childhood friend, and they connected their 2 strengths that they had when they were children, and then they opened up a restaurant. It was called Super Chef's Breakfast. Right? He started doing these this little breakfast corner in different restaurants, and other restaurants caught on to it, and they started pulling him to come into their restaurants, and they would do breakfast and other little odd things that they would cook. Well, they ended up, long story short, opening up 3 different restaurants. 2 of them are in Columbus, Ohio, and the other one is in Louisville, Kentucky.
Now, there are 4 stories in one. One, I want to look at persevering. You said he was locked up about 8 times?
About 8 times.
He never gave up on his dreams. Darnell, good for you.
That's right.
That is a teaching moment.
That's right.
Number 2, he persevered. He moved through the stuck stigma of saying, you're not going to make it. You're always going to be a failure. And man, I don't know what I would do if I was locked up 8 times. I would probably give up. Right. But he loved himself, and he knew that he believed in himself enough to make sure that it would happen. Also, he had a friend that they were reunited. They had a common goal, and there are 2 people who come together with a common goal and made it happen. 3 business, you say?
3 super chefs.
Look at that. Darnell and company, I'm proud of you, because there you were not susceptible to just being okay with a failure. I'm not calling you a failure, but you refuse to say. That's when I love a struggle. Struggle says I'm not comfortable in staying where I am. And that you are going to move forward. And that takes perseverance. It takes self-love. It takes, how bad do you want it? I know he probably went through a large time of, I don't know when I'm going to make it. And the mountain was tilted for him, because he didn't know whether he was going to make it. I love this guy. Darnell, what's his last name?
Ferguson.
Great
Go
guy.
to Columbus. He's got 2 restaurants in Columbus. So the menu is pretty great, too. Waffles, shrimp and grits.
Anything vegan? Just wondering.
No, nothing vegan.
Oh.
I did look at the menu, too. I didn't see anything vegan on there, but hey, sometimes you got to go for it.
I can't. Once vegan, always vegan.
Well,
if you go back, your body might not be able to take it.
That's true.
Okay.
That's true.
Darnell, again, proud of you.
Yes.
Great story.
Yes. So, what do we have? Let me stop here. Pause. Break.
Break. Pause.
And just break. Pause. And let me just remind you all of the Boss Up Conference that's coming up in August.
African Americans, Black people, have $1.4 trillion of buying power. Just look on Forbes magazine, right? We're the 13th largest economy. If we were a country, 13th largest economy in the world. And I'm going to submit to you that buying power, the ability to be a consumer, means absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. So here's the first key to getting wealthy. It's not how much you make. it's how much you keep, right? It's not how much you spend, it's what you spend it on. If you want to be wealthy in America, you got to amass vehicles for wealth, right? Real estate, land, a business, items that have intrinsic value, precious metals, gold, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, things that can be exchanged for money.
That is going to be August the 19th through the 24th, and we would love to see you there. So prepare yourself to come to the Boss Up Conference.
Okay. I want to be there.
I'm going to be there.
Okay.
I'm trying to be a boss.
I am too. And I'm going to be there. You're going to be there. We want you to be there.
Yes.
You're bosses too, aren't you? Aren't you a boss? Say yes.
Yeah. Nod your heads.
There you go. You're going to be there. That's August 19th through August 24th.
Right. That is correct.
Okay.
So what's your next story, Elder?
Oh, boy. I want to talk about Christy.
Christy.
I want to talk about Christy L. Jackson. Now, she's out of Houston, Texas. And she has what? Guess what she has?
What does she have?
She has a trucking company. She is co-owner of a trucking company, and she has been the CEO of the Business for Women developer. Okay, and this has allowed her to be connected with a lot of different companies such as JP Morgan, Chase, Wells Fargo, and many, many more. Well, not only does she have a trucking company that does the trucking and everything, but she has moving specials, there's services for logistics, and all kinds of trucking availability. I tell you, she is a great woman. She went down, dug deep, and made sure that she has, because trucking is a interesting industry in the first place.
Yeah, it's hard work.
Yeah, now she is the owner of this trucking company.
Wow.
And doing the research of this, I found out something very interesting.
What'd you find out?
African American women, which is on the uptick for the most successful entrepreneurs in the United States. That demographic is really growing. African American women, entrepreneurship is really growing. It is a federal statistic that they are confirming that this is a situation on the move, trending, however you want to look at it. African American women are finding ways to be in business and own the business that they're in.
And you know, I didn't know that it was to that height.
Yes.
To great heights. I didn't know that. But I have noticed, being in this business, just how much more I'm seeing African American women going for it. You know, and to be representative of that, to be a part of that, that's amazing to me.
Yes.
That's amazing. So.
Yeah. In fact, we work for an African American woman who's an innovator.
Yes, we do. Absolutely.
Yeah, and she is very good at what she does.
Yes. Yeah, she's on the rise. She's on the move. She's soaring.
Huh?
She's soaring.
There she goes.
Yeah, on the move, she's soaring. Yeah. So yeah, it's great to be a part of that, but I didn't know the numbers were that high.
The numbers are that high, and it is undeniably high. And it is very noticeable. In fact, people are confirming this more and more every day. And, you know, I'm beginning to take a good look to just see how sharp that is.
Okay, great story. Great story.
You go, Christy L. Jackson.
Yeah, girl. So, we have one other story that I want to talk about, and this particular story is really peculiar, actually. Okay. But I wanted to talk about it because, as an African-American female, I actually cut hair.
Yeah, you do.
Men's hair. Yeah. I cut it, I shape them up, I shape up the goatees, everything. That's something that I've always had a natural knack for, or talent for. So I wanted to talk about Darren Tinkering. Did I get that right?
You did get it right.
Darren Tinkering.
I'm glad you're doing this story.
Darren Tinkering is 24 years old, and he lives in England, or he's from England, I should say. And Darren used to love going to barbershops with his dad when he was growing up. As he got older, his parents wanted him to go into business management, accounting, and things like that. So he did go to college. Yeah. He got a degree. He was in a job for 1 year, and he found out in that job that he was dyslexic. Listen to me, I'm saying it as if I'm dyslexic, right?
But you did a good job.
But yeah, he found out that he was dyslexic, so he had to change his profession. Yes. And he had to be creative and innovative. So he remembered that growing up, he wanted to find out a way to make things more faster.
Yeah.
You know, get it going, microwave type situation. So he came up with this app, just like Uber, where you request to get your hair done.
Okay.
Or for men, you get your hair cut. Yeah. And then the van would come, get your hair done. I don't know if men get their hair did, but men get hooked up.
Yeah, but there anyway, you go. Get hooked up.
He came up with this app, and so they requested to get their hair done, and then they would send a van over to the person's house.
Okay.
They requested it. That didn't go off very well because some businesses, you know, especially if you're an independent contractor, sometimes people tend to come to work when they want to come to work, right?
Yeah, so yeah, you get those kinds.
It's bad customer service, you get bad reviews, then your business starts declining. So he had to come up with yet another plan, right? So like what you were saying with the other one, he didn't give up on his dream. What he did was he went to banks, he went to family, he went to friends, and he was able to make a 6-figure income to pull that business back up, right? So what they did was they bought these vans, but they're larger than vans. Well, they're more like
yeah, there's those tall vans. I guess they would still be vans, but they look like mini trucks.
Yeah,
you can stand up in them.
Right, which he would have had to do for what he was trying to do. But they bought 3 of them, right? And what they did was they made little mini barbershops inside of these large vans.
Ingenious.
Yeah, and they ran off of generators. So now they not only bring the van to where you are, they have the barbershop inside of those vans so that you can get your hair done. And this guy, Darren, Darren, I'm not even going to try to say his name again, but Darren is determined, and he said it. He said, the barbershop on the move is going to be happening.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be bigger and bigger.
It's going to change the industry.
Oh, yeah. That's what he believes in. So I believe him, too.
Yeah.
You know, you got to believe in your product.
You know how many times I wanted to, maybe I'm on my way to dinner or to a program or something, I don't know, maybe here doing this taping, and wanted to get trimmed up real good, but just didn't have the time, just don't have the expertise and everything to do it. See, this is where his service would come in.
That's right.
How much did they say how much they charge just for whatever, or is this a nominal fee, or we'll get in there when you call it?
They didn't say exactly what the fee was, but it's not cheap. They did say that it's not cheap. So
it's a service
you get what you pay for. That's right. That's right. So I imagine that I do know that they have 2 barbers working for them. Okay. So and it's full time. So
okay. Yeah. I'm pulling for you. I don't want you to make it, Darren.
Darren.
Tinkering.
Tinkerang.
All right, Tinkerang.
Yeah.
DT. That's what we're gonna call it from now on.
Yeah, DT.
Yeah. And we want to we want to see you be very successful in this business because it is a service that is needed, but it's kind of like anything else. You get what you pay for.
That's right. That's right.
You pay for the convenience, but boy, do we need that convenience.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when going to church in the morning. You know what? I should have straightened this up last night, but I didn't.
Right. Well, they could call on me, though. You know, I can still cut hair and do goatees and all of that. You know, actually, I think women... If more women got into that business of hair cutting, I almost did it, but I always thought women probably could get some great tips messing around in men's hair.
Yeah, especially
what man wouldn't want a woman's hands in their head? But I used to use my brothers as guinea pigs, and that's how I learned. They really didn't want me cutting their hair.
Really?
So a lot of men, you guys don't like us.
I don't know.
You think we're gonna mess your line up and all of that, but.
Once I think that you know your way around the razor, I'd rather have you around it in my face than a man. I'm just going to keep it a million.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, I'd much rather have you there than a man.
Well, I got one vote.
Okay.
That's good enough. Yeah. I got your vote.
All right. No problem.
So what's next? What's next on the horizon?
How about breaking the barriers? Are we into the stories? Do you have any more stories?
The only other thing that I want to remind everyone of is the Trailblazer Awards. We have to talk about this every time because we're just super excited about it. But a quick reminder of the Trailblazer Awards so that you all can prepare for it. October the 6th, 2019 in Kansas City.
Okay.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Kansas City, here we come.
He loves that song.
Yes.
Yeah.
October 6th, I'm going to be there.
October 6th? Yeah, I'm planning for it right now. You got to plan ahead.
You should do.
You know? So, but that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So let's talk about breaking the barriers.
Okay. I want to talk about communicating with cultural competence. There's a lot of times that we miss out on friendship, business partners, and the alike, or just plain communicating or communing with other people with different cultures simply because we never take time to understand their diverse values or understand exactly one of the ways that they like to do things. And sometimes, can I throw it on the table? We're just so judgmental.
Yes.
And we, so quick to always want to talk down about another person's belief when it's their belief and not ours. And so we want to talk about having the opportunity to understand that which you are dealing with. You got to get to know them to understand who they are and why they are. For example, a lot of people think if you take anywhere from 5 to 6 drinks a day of maybe a wine or something of that nature, that you're alcoholic. But certain cultures have different wines for every meal. A breakfast wine, a lunch wine, and an evening wine, dinner wine, whatever, a nightcap. And so that doesn't make them an alcoholic.
Right.
And sometimes, and I'm one of them, I'm guilty. I'm thinking if you're going to do that much drinking, my goodness, you got to find a way to not drink anymore.
Right. This is true. This is true. I think that with that, we have to have cultural self-awareness. We need to do an assessment on ourselves at times.
Yes.
And we also need to understand that diversity, it has to be here.
Yeah.
You have to realize that everybody is different.
Absolutely.
There's different cultures. We have to change our attitudes about a lot of things.
Yeah. And accept a lot of things that you think is taboo. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. Like you said, I like what you said. Diversity is in the mind. It's here. Okay, because that's where we conceive that is wrong or something I don't want to do. Simply because I wouldn't want to do it don't mean that it can't. We have to validate more. Okay, you may not agree, but at least we need to validate, some thought some thought patterns and the alike.
Well, there's value in diversity. First of all, there's a lot of value in diversity. There's that's a teaching tool. We get to learn about different cultures and how they operate because, believe it or not, and a lot of people don't like to talk about this, but there is differences in cultures.
Yes.
You can go to an African American home and you can go to a Caucasian person's home, and it's ran totally different.
Absolutely.
But it's their values, it's their belief systems, it's how they grew up. And you have to respect those differences. You'd be surprised at what you will learn if you just open yourselves up to the different cultures.
One thing I learned very early was that everybody doesn't have, how you have to eat the meal first and then the dessert. I went to a couple of homes as a child and they had the dessert first.
That's what's up.
And I was excited, but I couldn't bring that theory home. No, we ain't having that.
No. That's not where we come from.
No. I was saying, hey, we got to try this, at least one time.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, even with spanking your children, for instance, in an African American home, you got it. You did something and you embarrass your parents in front of people, you got it right there in front of people.
If you were at a store, and you can buck it out if you want to because you're not getting that candy or that toy.
Right.
They give you something, I'm going to give you something to cry about.
Right.
You embarrass me. And then turn around, got it in the car on the way home.
Right.
And then if you breathe wrong or cross-eyed wrong, you got it again at home. Right. You really got it at home. That broke that up.
Yeah.
I know. I tried to show out every now and again, but
no, I knew better. It was go in the store. My mother used to tell us, walk a straight line. Don't ask me for nothing. Don't look to your left or to your right. Okay, the answer is no already, and we knew.
Yeah.
You know.
And so we would accuse other different cultures for, for saying, and even if it's in the pluralistic thing of a culture, we would see some of our own people say like, don't spare that ride. That's
right.
one that needs it. Give it to them. What you holding it for?
Right,
Give them that ride.
Right. Well, I look at some people with their children in stores or wherever we're at, and I just, I want to grab them up in the collar. And I'm looking at them. Sometimes I even side eye. I'm like, the kid is showing out, and then they'll look at you like, and then you look. I'm looking at them. I'm like,
And yeah, they just tapping on it. They make you say, let me do it. Let me do it. Let me show hands.
Yeah. Oh my.
Yeah. Let me try it.
Yeah.
Start.
Yeah. There is a difference, though. There's definitely a difference. My sister, one of her grandchildren, this little boy, oh my goodness, he was a handful.
Yeah.
He was a handful. And every time they went in the store, he wanted those gummy bear things.
Yeah.
And if he didn't get them, he'd throw a tantrum in the store. Well, this is the way just like I just described a few moments ago, she would grab him in his collar, and that's how she carried him out the store. Now, some people look at that as child abuse, right?
Yeah.
So actually, there was a Caucasian lady that, looked at her kind of funny, and she turned around and looked at her.
She called 911?
She probably did.
Yeah.
By the time they got there, they would have been gone. But, there's a difference.
It's a big difference.
Because a lot of people don't believe in spanking their children. They're afraid nowadays that the police is going to get called on and they're going to go to jail.
Or, depending on where you are in your environmental engineering, I mean, there are some, even police force would tell you, hey, give one, because if you don't, we will. And depends on where you live at. Yeah, they would tell you, listen to your parents, and, I'll turn my head and if you get one, go ahead and crack him one. We don't see that. But you go to certain places and they will lock you up. And again, we're talking about cultural differences.
That's right.
Okay, because where you live and how you teach and how you parent may be different from another suburban area or something of that nature.
That's right.
Yeah. Where there is a violent desert, when there is no violence, but if you live where there are violence and you have to take things a little more by the reins, parenting is different. Parenting is different. Purchases are different. The whole 15. Everything.
Yeah. So.
Very interesting.
Yeah. What are your closing remarks?
Well, let's say.
What do you offer the people tonight?
Communication.
Communication.
Yes, let's talk. A lot of times, young adolescents, about to be young people, they have this thing of I'm going to take the world by the horn and I got it. I'm grown.
Oh, yeah.
They don't pay a nerve bill.
Right.
Okay. They ain't bringing in nerve food.
Well, go ahead and preach.
Okay. But they're grown. And they will tell you they're grown. And I'm not going to do what, and again, you're kind of cross between, you're going to have a physical discussion or you're going to have a discussion. Right. And sometimes it all comes down to communication. Let's just take the aggression out, because we got to realize reality brings frustration. Sometimes love brings on aggravation. If you're not going to do what are in my expectations for you, there is a cost. There is repercussions. And so sometimes we don't know how to do that, particularly with some of our young people. And we need to find out now, 2019 and beyond. I always say that, and a lot of people may think that that's something that is kind of so redundant, but you got to look at it. Things is not like it was 2000.
Oh, no.
You can look at the way our smartphones, the evolving from cell phone to smartphone, and you can think about how the phone period. I always gauge where we are technically with technology and what have you, based on the cell phone or the smartphone.
Yeah.
And that is where we are going, because there's so many things. I mean, my goodness, I watch our show on our phone. Ain't that a kick in the head?
Yeah, it's convenience.
And
right?
so, and I watched a basketball game one time on the phone, and so, we're here now. And what does it have to do with the mindset? The mindset is, it is aggressive. It is microwavable. Some of our young people want things not now, right now. And sometimes that starts other different, because, we live in still a very strategic, patient, type atmosphere. Those are some of our core values.
Right.
And some of our young people want things like yesterday.
That's true.
You know, and so therefore that causes a little friction.
Yeah.
What is your take on it?
I totally agree. So, I mean, there's not a whole lot to be said for that. You're right. And we're in a different society. So, communication is a huge barrier at times, and we need to work through that.
Yeah. Just talk about it. Let's talk about what are the expectations? What are the expectations? You're not going to make it. You know, what kind of things do you need to do to be successful? You know, let's try to plan. I always try to tell people, goals are great. I love goals, but a goal without a plan is a wish list.
Hey.
And some people are not patient enough to have a plan to figure out what it is. You know, somebody going to help me. I'll start this, but if I can't make it, somebody going to help me.
Well, see, that's where they're mistaken. And that leads me into, if you're done, Elder, that leads me into my last chit-chat to you.
Okay.
When I was growing up, I was always taught, and it wasn't necessarily by my parents, but it was taught when I entered into the workforce, is to dress the part of where you want to go. Act the part of where you want to go. Find that person that you want to
emulate.
Yeah, that you want to emulate.
Yeah.
Watch everything that they do. Watch
their mannerisms.
Successful people.
Yeah.
This is successful people. And so this is more for the younger people, because I wish I had listened.
Yeah.
But I didn't. I did to some degree, but yeah. Wherever it is that you want to go, find that person that's successful. Emulate that person.
Yes.
Dress for success. There was a guy that I was talking to someone about not too long ago who opened up his own grocery store.
Okay.
And he's standing in his grocery store, and looking at him, he looks like a typical thug.
I remember
standing in the store. Yeah. And someone was saying that, you know, he didn't necessarily need to dress up or whatever, because there's a stigma with African American young males or whatever. But my take on it is that there is a stigma. It is what it is.
Yeah.
And sometimes we have to help ourselves. This is any culture, really. But sometimes we have to help ourselves. He didn't necessarily have to put on a full-blown suit to be in his store. But to me, when you're a business owner, you set the example.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? You set the example. And so, again, whether you're in a business already or whether you're aspiring to have a business, you have to dress the part.
Now, the only exception that I would say is, you know, a lot of times I know in my church, I wear a lot of different hats. And so I'm not giving this gentleman a pass, but I got to validate some of this, because when you're having to stock, you're having to do this, and then you're having to do the PR, you have to, you know, dress the part as that owner. Sometimes you can't do that all the time in what we would call professional suits. So therefore, depending on what he is doing and the time of the day that he's doing it, he can always dress that part.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I get it.
Yeah. It's just overall. You know, it's the mindset, basically, and it's overall. Of course, you're going to have dress down days. A lot of businesses that, you know, it's a professional atmosphere, but on Fridays, they wear jeans.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's exceptions. But overall, the mindset should be business. Success. Dress for success.
Dress the part.
Act like you're,
there you go.
know, act like you're a millionaire.
There you go.
Look like you're a millionaire.
Yeah. I mean, don't have a $2 million dream with a 2-cent attitude.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We covered a lot.
We have covered a lot.
We hope you've learned a lot. Did y'all learn a lot?
We've learned a lot, right?
Yeah. We learned a lot.
We've learned a lot. We always learn a lot every week. So.
Yes.
So, we're going to end this show again, and we look forward to joining you all, or you joining us again on next week.
We're going to be together.
This man really, he likes to sing. I think I found his second, what is it?
I don't know, but I can't sing.
Is it a calling or is it a desire to sing? Or?
Yeah, it's a desire, but I really can't sing that well. I wish I could.
So we're going to be on the move with that, okay?
Yeah, we're going to work on it.
All right. Talk to you guys next week.
Take care.